Wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone. Let's start by putting our hands on our hearts just for a moment, and we'll take a deep breath in together. Right? That's a good way to start connecting heart to heart, soul to soul. My mother is standing at the doorway of my room, and her warm brown eyes are following me as I make my way around the bed. I hear her inhale as she sees me try to take the sheets and tuck them under the mattress. My 6-year-old fingers are having a hard time with the bunched up fabric as I shove it into place. I look up and I see her eyebrows are knitting together like a frown, with two sharp lines like soldiers that are standing at attention. That's the way children were disciplined before the invention of Botox. And then she says, "Pull it tighter. Straighten it out." My little body tightens as I try to do it her way. "Tanychka, try harder. Pull tighter." "Mama, I'm doing it my way." She puts her hands on her hips and says, "The other girl would do it better." And then lightning strikes through my body and I ferociously pull the fabric into place. You see, everything is possible. My mother is a beautiful, inspiring, passionate superachiever and perfectionist who wholeheartedly wants the very best for herself, her family, and her life. She was born in a high-performance country and raised in a competitive culture. And so she didn't want to compare me to my older brother. So instead, she used a parenting technique that was popular of the day called the other girl. And this created an infinite standard of excellence to help me reach my full potential. And so it happened for years. The other girl would do it better. The other girl would do it faster. The other girl would get 100%. And no matter how hard I tried, I could always do it better. Despite her genuine intentions, I didn't realize what was happening. I actually was being programmed to believe that no matter how hard I tried, there was always someone better, faster, and smarter than me. And I saw her in every girl I met. And by 12, I was having nightmares of killing this other girl. Regardless of all of the successes that I had as I grew older, I never felt like I was enough and I couldn't celebrate my success. Raise your hand if you've ever succeeded at something, but you couldn't celebrate it because you felt it was not good enough. You could do better. Thank you. An ocean of hands. And so what happened next is, as I started growing older, I realized that I wasn't going to live like that any longer. I went from burnout to burnout until I realized that my pursuit for better was actually inhibiting me from living my true best life. And I realized if I wanted to get beyond better, I needed to literally change the way that I perceived success in my mind. Instead of moving harder by actually working harder and faster to increase my RPM, I chose instead to elevate my JPM, which is my joy per minute. And that's our new measure of success, because instead of living one day, someday, when we get there so that we can be happy and fulfilled, we can actually choose to increase our joy per minute and live our best life in every moment now. And when I started to question my joy, I asked myself, how much joy am I getting from the food I'm eating? Am I just sitting there eating with some program on so that I could be productive? How much joy am I getting from my family and my friends? Am I really connecting heart to heart with them? Or am I on my phone busy because I could be more productive or doing more? And so I changed the course of my life. I changed the course of my life, and now I'm here today to share this incredible movement with you to increase our JPM so that we don't have to wait one day to get there, but we can truly live our best life now. Are you ready to learn how to increase your joy per minute? Would you like to be blessed and not stressed? If you're with me, say yes. Woo! So the way that it works in the brain is that our amygdala begins to release activate the release of cortisol. When something negative happens, the amygdala releases cortisol in order to encode the memory in our brain. And when our core belief is that I am not enough, what happens is our dopamine, our reward neurochemical, is released only after we perform better, faster, harder. So if you think about it, if our reward chemical is released only after we perform better and faster, it creates almost like an addiction to achievement. And because neurons that fire together, wire together, we are training our brain. And this is so important. We are training our brain to link love and acceptance with conditional achievement. And so what happens in our brain is that we develop a belief system that basically says, I am only worthy when I am achieving, and I am unworthy in praise and love when I am not. When we think about this, that is what really drives us. When so many of us are driven for success and feeling that level of addiction to it, most of the time is because we're literally waiting to feel worthy once we achieve. And that's neurobiological pathway disconnects us from our joy and authenticity. This is what really disconnects us from our authentic self and turns us into our inauthentic manufactured self. And it also creates a deficient mindset. Our deficient mindset is when we look at things and it never seems like it's enough. And that leads to perfectionism, which can lead to burnout, which can lead to self-doubt, and that feeds procrastination. It can also trigger overwhelm and that feeling of being stuck or even frozen in our life. So how do we escape this trap of self-sabotage? How do we get beyond this brain trap and rewire our mind for success? Well, the first thing is to gain a sense of keen self-awareness. And the way we do that is by stop going on autopilot and really think, how much joy am I experiencing in my life? And where do I feel stuck and stopped? And then we listen. We listen to our subconscious mind because it talks to us all the time in two ways. Our subconscious mind is speaking to us through either negative inner chatter, that voice inside your head that's always talking to you, or physical symptoms. And so when we think about it, our physical symptoms are things like if you've ever had to do a special and important project and you've had an instant stomach ache or backache or headache, or you felt really drained and completely devoid of energy, only to feel completely energized when somebody calls you and asks you to go somewhere fun. And so negative inner chatter is also speaking to us. And over the last 10 years, I've had the privilege of touring over 45 countries, 60 in total, and administering this self-assessment for beliefs that tests if you're programmed for success or self-sabotage to thousands of people. And we've come up with hundreds of beliefs, and it all comes down to 7 subconscious beliefs that sabotage our life. And I wanted to bring a few conversations here just to give you an example. So one of the things we hear a lot is people say, I doubt myself. I don't make the right decisions in my life. And when we look at the cognitive behavioral model of how we create results in our life, when we think the thought, I doubt myself, I don't make the right decisions, it makes us feel insecure. It makes us feel scared. And so if you look at the word emotion, it has the word motion in it. When you look at the word motion is in it because it dictates the quality of our actions. And then the quality of our actions create the quality of our results. So if I believe that I doubt myself and I don't make the right decisions, something called confirmation bias, which is what I believe is what I see. Your brain starts looking for what you believe and confirming it's true so you can find proof for that. But the problem with that type of thinking is that it's not productive, it's not efficient, it's deficient. And so another one is I don't have time for my health and well-being. Lots of people could say, Tanya, that is true. I don't have time for my health and well-being. The problem with that is that when you look at the thought, you ask yourself, how does this thought make me feel? And this is one of the most important questions you could ever ask yourself when you're looking to rewire your mind for success. Because if it makes you feel depleted, if it makes you feel drained, if it makes you feel, in this particular case, if I don't have time for my health and well-being, it makes you feel busy and frustrated. If I'm busy and frustrated, I will not make time for my health and well-being. And therefore, my results are that I don't have time. And the last one I wanted to share with you is it's hard for me to ask for what I want. Maybe some of you can relate to some of these. But when you look at it, you think, yeah, it is hard for me to ask for what I want. But when you think about that, asking yourself again, how does it make me feel when I think I can't ask for what I want? It makes me feel angry. It might make me feel resentful, and it might make me feel shut down. And so if I feel shut down, then I don't ask for what I want with confidence, and then I don't get it. But then if I wait till I'm too angry, then I explode when I ask for what I want, and then I don't get what I want, and I feel like I can't ask for what I want. So how do we do it? How do we rewire our mind? If any of you have ever tried regular positive affirmations, ones that you get maybe in an email or something you see on YouTube, regular affirmations, positive affirmations, if you've ever tried them and thought, this does not make sense to me, my brain says no when I look at them, you are not alone. It's not enough to program your mind with regular positive affirmations. They need to be prescriptive affirmations. It's the same as if I was to give you a blood test and find out what you are missing and give you a prescriptive multivitamin. That would be much better than if I just gave you a multivitamin from the pharmacy off the shelf. You really want to do it so that you can write down all of your negative inner thoughts on paper, make a line down the center, and then flip them so that the affirmations that you do get are prescriptive specifically to you and the joy that you're after. So if we take the next one, which is, I don't have time for my health and well-being, the prescriptive affirmation is, I love myself, I make time for my health and well-being. And is it true? Like, that's the question. Like, even if we look at, I trust myself and I make the right decisions, you've actually made the right decisions thousands of times, which is why you're here at TEDx. But if you think also, I love myself, I make time for my health and well-being, where is that true? That's true. You brushed your teeth this morning. You fed yourself breakfast. You washed your face, right? So if I love myself and I make time for my health and well-being is my new conversation. Once I start looking for where that's real, it actually becomes my greater, more expanded reality until I believe it completely, and my new neural pathways then drive my behavior. And if we look at, it's hard for me to ask for what I want. It's safe to express my needs and ask for what I want. Imagine if you actually said that to yourself before you went into a conversation. It's safe for me to express my needs and ask for what I want. When we say things like that, we have to see where that's true. Is it safe for you to ask for what you want at home or with your friends? Where is it safe for you to ask and express your ideas and ask for what you want? So once you hear the negative, you delete and repeat the prescriptive affirmation. And then when you say it, you need to see it. And the most important thing is we have to start thinking that we have to feed our brain like we feed our stomach with healthy, wholesome, nutritious, nourishing, strengthening, empowering thoughts. because what we feed our brain ultimately comes out in our life. And the key is to remember that our beliefs drive our behavior. Up until now, we've been setting goals to change our behavior, make more money, go to the gym, spend more time with family. All of those are behavior-based goals. But the problem is that if your beliefs underneath the behavior are not in alignment with what you're trying to achieve, you're literally working against yourself, which is what's creating the self-sabotage in the first place. So if we want to escape the trap of self-sabotage and the trap of never enough and all of the other negative subconscious beliefs that are sabotaging our life, our new way of doing things is to create a revolution in goal setting. So instead of just focusing on setting goals, it's to focus on creating the right beliefs in order to drive that behavior much more effortlessly. Perfect. And so the thing I want to leave you with is to join me in this incredible movement of moving beyond the RPM, to stop thinking that we have to drive harder and faster. If you think about it, negative ways of thinking to ourselves, it's like driving a horse. It's like riding a horse. Yeah, yeah. That's the way we did it in the olden days. That is a different and older way of motivating ourselves. Today, we're in the world of AI. Joy and love is a huge motivator. So let's continue driving this movement so that we can truly live our best lives and enjoy every single day now. Thank you so much, everyone.